was on a fucking shitty like Windows XP in my mom's utility room.
Well, you nailed it. Somehow. So I said to Chris, I'm like, listen, I want the soundtrack from this movie, The Room, but as like a Pokemon theme. I didn't know what the hell we were gonna get back, and Chris fucking nailed it. It was just like perfect.
Yeah, Harry Partridge had a little tiny bit at the end too. He can help me with it.
Did he? Yeah. I mean,
shout out to Harry.
It's actually catchy. It's actually
Rest
a
in
really
peace.
good like battle theme.
Yeah, it was
like,
cool. That was good times.
Yeah.
That was my first Newgrounds collab. Well, proper one.
And now look how ugly you are.
No.
Yeah, that was fun.
What was the worst thing you were invited to?
Worst?
Wow, you're like sorting through them right now. Like you flew out there.
Nick's birthday party.
Well, I guess in terms of like making an effort for something, like we did a Newgrounds booth at Wizard World in Philly.
Okay.
And
That's a legit event.
It's gotten big now.
Yeah.
And I think they even took on like a Comic-Con name. Everyone renames their convention Comic-Con because no one owns that.
Yeah.
So when you hear that there's Comic-Con in your town, it's not actually the same event as what's in San Diego. It's just that anyone can call their event Comic-Con.
Oh.
But when we went, it was like, I think it was actually their lowest year. I think they'd actually been in decline before they had like an upswing. And, we set up a booth and it was just like, I don't know.
That's the worst thing.
It's like the emptiest.
It wasn't that bad.
It was. I mean, as far as going out to do something.
I was hoping like you went there and it was like just a
there's no
dark room and they kidnapped you.
I would suspect like getting paid to go out there. They're like, oh, we've got a place set up for you, and then you come out there like it's a long flight, like 12 hours, and then you go there and it's just completely pointless.
Yeah, I mean all the conventions I've gone to have all worked. Like everything I've flown to, I'd say has worked out well.
You've been to a lot of conventions. Sorry,
You've had a lot of good things from Newgrounds. What's the worst thing that's come from Newgrounds? Like what's a bad situation, legal trouble, a fight? What's the worst thing?
May I make a suggestion? I don't know. If
I do. Can I say I do recall very very vague. Like you guys have had some legal run-ins, like with your Gears of War cartoons and stuff.
That wasn't that bad.
Okay. Well, what's the
a lot of
worst
stuff?
thing?
Okay, a lot of stuff is like cease and desist. What's a real nightmare if you have a website is things involving use of pictures that other people's pictures if they have like a copyright lawyer. So we had an instance where we had some clip art on the site that was from Corbis. And so they basically just came at us and did
My bad.
Yeah, they did a $10,000 shakedown, and basically they want $10,000. Then you talk to lawyers, and the lawyers are like, "That's actually
We didn't just use them. I mean, I manipulated them. I mean, they were changed.
yeah."
What exactly did you use?
What the fuck is Corbis?
They're a company that owns lots of. They represent
Like
lots of
stock
photographers.
images?
Yeah, for
Oh,
stock
okay.
images.
There's like 3 100 by 100 pixel, completely.
Here's the worst part.
Master
Here's the
file?
picture.
They're the same thing.
A dude reading a newspaper.
Here's the worst part of it. It was part of NG Mag, and we no longer even linked to it. It was officially dead because we wanted to redo it at some point, but it was officially dead. We weren't linking to it anymore. It could have just been deleted at any moment, and because we didn't delete it, they ended up finding it and then sending this thing. So you talk to the lawyers, and they're like, it's really hard to win against someone that owns a photo. Like, there's not really any sympathy in court for that. So, you're gonna have to spend a decent amount of money. So then the lawyers go back and forth, and then they get it knocked down to like 7,000.
Meanwhile, are you paying these lawyers to do that?
You usually, as soon as you involve lawyers, you'll spend just as much or more when it's all done. So the only real reason to involve lawyers is if you don't want to give someone else the satisfaction of getting the money, and then you essentially give it to the lawyers instead. But
Couldn't you have just bought the pictures?
no, because once they catch you, then it's
they want the
they want a big payday.
There's similar. I don't know if I'm actually legally allowed to say this because I think we had to sign something, but Masterfile, they're notorious for that, and I did some research on them while they were trying to sue us. And essentially what I discovered is because stock photos are becoming, there's just more and more places to get free resources. So these stock photo sites that are used to these exorbitant amounts for the rates that they would charge to like a major magazine, like a Fortune 500 company magazine or whatever, they end up spending less time gathering images and doing anything like back end, like making sure the site runs and all that, and they actually spend more resources and time going to court with people. Like that's actually where a huge chunk of their money comes from, because it's not coming from images anymore.
Yeah.
And so they'll just take people to court and they'll try. I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, $10,000. It's like they will just drop these huge numbers on you, and what ends up happening is they try to act like they're doing you a favor by being like, fine, 3,000 for using that image.
They set it artificially high to haggle you down.
Exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't malicious or anything. They were completely harmless. And then they just came after us. It's ridiculous.
We can. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say there's another case where it was a game that we sponsored.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, I won't name names, but they had used a photo, and
The main character in the game was the photo.
well, but it was just but not in the game, just the title
Was it that
screen.
shark?
okay.
Was it that shark game?
Oh, right, now I've said too much.
Oh,
Well, anyway.
Shit. I thought that's.
We'll cut that.
Start that last sentence again.
Just do it again. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's been cases.
So yeah, so one example was a game that we sponsored where his title screen used an image that was owned by somebody, and that was an interesting one because as a sponsor, you're kind of off the hook because you can be like, oh, we just advertise ourselves on this game,
But you're a good guy.
but I'm a good guy, yeah. So I took care. I actually paid
You
their.
took the hit for that one.
Yeah, I took the hit, and
What was the hit?
and I bought the license. That was an expensive one.
What was the hit?
10,000.
Oh,
Jesus.
And then I bought the license so that it wouldn't have any problems moving forward. But because I figured he's gonna start finding it on other websites or whatever.
Right,
If you,
yeah.
even if you edit the Newgrounds version, it's gonna end up being everywhere.
Yeah.
But and then similar to that is the patent troll companies that try to, they accumulate patents, and their whole business is accumulating patents and then just suing people and
Right.
getting licensing fees.
Right.
So we were.
That's some snaky shit too.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the same thing as, it's not the same thing, and a smaller version of that is those people who sit on websites. They just buy up all these different website names, and then if you want something, if you're a company, if you're a large enough company, they'll be like, we want $1 million for this.
Yeah.
And you know what's weird too? Maybe Tom, you can mention this. You mentioned like the one patent troll website you went to about, it's like these people like are smiling, and it's almost like they're proud of this.
Yeah, a lot of them, here's I'll tell you all about some patent trolls, because there's some things that people don't know about. So there's a court in Texas with a judge that is very friendly with the patent litigators.
Yeah.
So what they always do is they always set up a location in that town, and then they run all their lawsuits through that town. And I'm sure this judge has made a fortune off of it, and he should be like disbarred or whatever. But that's, as far as I know, that might still be happening unless that's actually changed. But that's exactly what happened with us. It's like they were going to use that courthouse. And another thing about patent trolls a lot of people don't know is, like, if you hear an ad on the radio for a company, and it's an ad that says how they're like a great company doing cool stuff, and they're looking for talented people. Patent trolls actually run those ads to build positive reputation, so that juries, when they go into court, a jury will be like, I hear their ad on the radio. They're doing this and this. So there's a lot of stuff, but it's like, anyway.
Well, that's dirty.
So in our case, it was
How did you find that out?
I just hear things. But anyway. So anyway.
You're like, I didn't just drop 10K for no reason.
But our case, it was someone, they had a patent for running ads while you're listening to music online. And so they were trying to come after us. But the thing that, in our case, is we had proof that we actually were doing that on the site a year before they filed their patent. And that's the really crazy part. You need to show that you did it a year before they filed the patent, which doesn't make much sense.
Why wouldn't it just be a
why not
day?
the day before they filed the patent? But so it was interesting because our first thing was have the lawyers send them back the thing that showed the examples from the Internet Archive of where we had audio and ads. But then it's just like the whole thing got thrown out because it was actually like they were trying to go after some like streaming radio services. I think Huffington Post was named. Like they had a few. They'd actually successfully won against 10 companies. They did they named 10 companies and won, and they all settled. And then we were part of like their second wave.
Yeah.
But then it got thrown out. And
because of you guys?
I don't think it was because of us. I don't know. It was kind of a mystery because it was like I was just waiting to hear what was next, and that was basically like.
What's the general demeanor in the back and forth with these types of people?
Well, when it's someone that serious, I've learned to just once the lawyers initiate discussion, they're not allowed to talk to you anymore. So I get too like nervous because it used to be like when the Charlie Brown thing on the site. So we had a Charlie Brown cartoon on the site, and the King or whatever that owns Charlie Brown sent the takedown notice, and it was the same month that Mad Magazine had Charlie Brown on the cover choking Lucy or whatever. So I sent them back the cover of Mad Magazine and said, it's like a parody just like this,
Yeah.
But that just made him mad, and like then I actually got the lawyers involved, and it basically came down to the lawyers were like, you have to take it down or we're gonna go to court.
Right.
What did make it a parody? What made it like what made it?
What it is if a company, when companies have a lot of money, they know that even if you would win, they know that we would win in court, but they also know that we could not afford. It would cost us $100,000 to win.
Call your bluff.
Yeah, it's like you have to, let's say if someone says that what you made could cause confusion.
Right.
To prove that the general public is not confused between what you made. There's all these things that people don't understand. It's like once it goes to court, they'll basically bankrupt you, and that's how.
It's funny. Just a side note: we have some friends that have had like YouTube networks, like the aggregate networks, and I know I don't need to name names, but there is one in particular that a lot of people were with for a very long time, and when they tried to get out. It's so weird because like they wanted to get out because clearly there was no relationship. Things weren't working out. So people wanted to bail. But due to some of these lifelong contracts and other things.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm not going to lay names.
Yeah.
But I will say that the contract was, like when they brought it to court, that it was actually against the law.
Sure. No. I know that. But I know that part of their process in order to, how do you say this?
Intimidate?
Basically, no, bleed people. So what they would do is that they would make it so you had to get a lawyer in order to get out of this, right? But the thing is that I guess there's like a 30-day grace period between correspondences. So like they have to respond within X amount of days, whatever it is. And what they would do is they'd always wait until the very last day in order to do the response. So that means if you're just some lowly content creator and you have a lawyer trying to help you out, that time, that the clock is ticking. So like they would literally just bleed you out. So every email, and like they needed clarification on something. It's like 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. Yeah. So you eventually would just have to drop the lawyer.
Well, I'll tell you what always worked for me is I always look at, for a contract, I always look to make sure that they build a clause where it says you can't say anything bad about us. Because that always works pretty well.
Yeah.
If there's not a clause that says you can't badmouth us, all you have to say is like, dude, look, I can tell everyone what a piece of shit you are, and that usually scares them. And that worked with the specifically the network you're talking about. That's what I did. I was like, listen, I will ruin you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They let me go that week. They fucking let me go that week.
Yeah.
The real genius of YouTube introducing networks, I'll say there's like 3 points of genius. The first is they eliminated all their personal legal liability by allowing other companies to take responsibility for what people upload on YouTube.
You mean YouTube
Yeah.
eliminated it?
So
yeah.
YouTube, like if you upload something that gets you sued, it's your network that this is now their problem because they're a company that has resources.
Right.
The second thing is they eliminated all of the financial and tax liability of how you pay people. So let's say you have a guy in another country getting U.S. sourced ad revenue, and you're not withholding the proper amount for the IRS because you're an American company. If you give that money to another American company and they do it wrong, that's them. That's on them. So it's not even like they don't have to worry about all the paperwork. They don't have to worry about dealing with all the individual people.
So far, the way you're describing this, it sounds like laundering money. Like the way you funnel it through these filters.
Yeah,
so
letting it be other people's problem.
Right, but they collect on the goods, but then they don't have to deal with.
And then the third was that all these networks came along and raised millions of dollars, and then actually used venture capital to boost people's CPMs. So that like when people early on were getting the guaranteed ad rates, that was just because these companies they'd raise like $100 million and they'd be able to just burn a few $1 million, giving people a guaranteed rate because they wanted the best
Which sucks people in, and then
it made everyone think
content creators.
It makes everyone think
running a
YouTube's
job.
amazing when it's all just like a house of cards.
It's
with all this.
a nice little bubble that's gonna pop.
Pretty much the biggest networks, like it's a scam, right? So that like the ones who will accept anyone. If you're like a little kid with 10,000 subscribers and they're like, yo, come onto our network, we'll help you out. It's a scam because their biggest clients are the people with like millions of subscribers, right?
And they're just pretty much
so if
reaching out
they're
for money.
offering someone with even under 100,000 subscribers, there's no way they'll ever help them out because they're biggest clients
Their
come first.
resources.
Essentially, all they're
And
doing
they've
is
got-
they're getting as many people they can to just kind of
Yeah.
take 30%.
And they've got tens of thousands of clients, so of course they're never going to get to everybody. So.
Their emails are so funny too. I like it when they say they'll just like flat out lie. Like they'll be like, "We've worked with such popular YouTubers."
Dude,
as-"
my name is using those
and you-
emails.
and
The
you know
people I've with, I've seen emails. It's like real.
something when there's
people
an
have
issue-
physic pebbles, like 2 spaces and real pebbles.
I know they like spell Spaz Kid wrong, and I lean over. I'm like, "Dude, do you work with these guys?"
Yo, and my favorite email is the one where they write when they're like recruiting people and they're like, "We love your
Yeah, we love-
channel."
Oh,
And
your videos are crazy. Which one's your favorite? Oh, we love your videos.
yeah, all your videos.
Oh yeah, they do, or they pick a random title. Like they'll pick something like that I did that it's clearly a piece of shit.
Right.
Like they'll just go through and be like, "Ah, that's my favorite," and then
That or they'll go by the most viewed one. But I remember when what's his face? He worked for the actual cartoon thing. He did the bear, Dova Bear.
Joe Bows.
Yeah, Bows.
Yeah, Bows.
So Bows, when he posted that one Twitter image of like the account, there, fuck, I don't want to say, again, not names, but there was a network that
Broadband TV.
anyways, apparently an intern did it, so the company, isn't liable, I guess. But they had sent out all these tweets saying, "Hey, so and so, we really love your channel. Please, write us. We want to talk." And it was just like, it was just like the whole screen, and like we went through the account, and basically they just shoveled in all these names, copied and pasted, and went. And it was like, of all the people to send that type of like it's just it's not only is it not personal, it does seem kind of just
Robotic.
yeah.
I mean, even in the emails.
I get like 3 or 4 a day, dude.
Yeah.
Right. And what do you think of those people? Like, fuck off.
And I think nothing of them.
Right.
Yeah. They're a dime a
Yeah.
dozen. You
Yeah.
know?
And again,
They're
I
just trying to
always
take
have the
over
same
my
pitch.
YouTube account, and if I
Yeah.
click and I'm just going to be redirected to a sign-in YouTube page thing.
Actually,
Usually.
I get nervous because, like, I'd say maybe like 6 times a year, I might reach out to someone who I've seen like a video on like Vimeo or something. I'll be like, I really like that. Like, you want to show on Newgrounds, And then I always get nervous that they're just gonna be like, "This is how that fucker does it. Just emails everybody."
Fucking world people.
Yeah.
Hey Tom, to go back to what you were saying before that went in the direction that it did. What were some of the there's a lot of properties that you should completely avoid. And I know one of them's Charlie Brown.
Is it really that Charlie Brown?
Smurfs.
Really?
Oh,
Godzilla.
yes,
Godzilla is definitely one. I read an
Godzilla
article.
goes after people. Yeah.
It's usually not the creators. It's normally they have like crazy huge legal teams. It's like their job to go out and
Yeah.
Godzilla has literally a legal team, and they're known as the Godzilla of legal teams. There was an article about it in some magazine. These guys made a wine, and they labeled it like what was it, like something Zilla. They had Zilla at the end of the name of it.
Godzilla wine.
Yeah, and then
It's a real
but it
drug.
wasn't Godzilla, but it was like
Winezilla.
Yeah, Winezilla, something like that. And they had like a silhouette of Godzilla on the label, just the silhouette, which actually just looks like a lumpy turd, to be honest, if you've seen the silhouette. And
He's a big fat guy.
yeah, they sued those guys right out of business.
The same thing happened to Pink Godzilla. When we'd go to PAX, the first few years we go to PAX, we'd like hang out with this Pink Godzilla guys that they ran like an import game store in Seattle.
Yeah.
And so they just had their store. They had their mascot, which is like a chibi pink little dinosaur. Doesn't look anything like an official Godzilla.
Right.
But they were called Pink Godzilla, and they had stuffed animals of it and everything. And they got them. They had to change to Pink
And then the
Gorilla.
big old foot came down
Yeah.
and smashed all of them.
Yeah, they had to ditch all the stuff they'd done with it and
Pink
change it to Pink
Godzilla?
Gorilla.
But when you said
Pink
Smurfs
Gorilla.
and Godzilla, I've seen like parodies of both of those loads. So.
Yeah, because Smurfs, we'd gotten a takedown notice from the Smurfs before, but there have been Smurfs things since.
Of all things, the fucking Smurfs.
Nobody cares
fucking
about the
catchy,
fucking
right?
Smurfs.
I really
recent-
don't understand.
Like nobody.
Could you imagine if Nintendo was that hardcore? There wouldn't be a fucking. If
I mean,
Mario
that's actually-
parodies
that's-
couldn't exist.
Didn't Sega
No.
try to go after Sonic shit?
Did they?
Yeah, at one point they did, but
Sega?
never with us.
Really?
But there were
Yeah,
some
they were
people-
trying to shut down all Sonic parodies at some point.
Good luck with
I
that.
don't blame
dude.
you.
Just let it flourish.
No, not Sonic parodies. You need to crush that.
We gotta
They
take-
have one good Sonic parody. That's what I thought.
Mario versus
Oh, did
Sonic.
you see that
That's
one?
what I
Wait,
thought.
did you see that one recently where he hung himself and then his coins all spilled out, but then they like auto collected back?
Fuck you,
and he went
Tom.
to, like,
Fuck you.
I really like
This
that.
is over.
Did not see Sonic.
That's a classic one.
Sonic is a good one.
What about Mario versus Sonic: The Reckoning? That was
Episode 4 is the best.
No way, dude.
I used to love those Sprite
Pikachu
cartoons.
comes in.
It's like
Wasn't
two
there a whole
steps from
fucking-
hell.
Wasn't there a whole
Yeah,
series
no,
with
there,
Dragon Ball Z
you know
from
what,
Mario?
Tom? In the golden days when I used to go on Newgrounds, I remember I used to just blam Sprite animations. I fucking hated them. So I'd come on and I would see all these people who put effort, and then I would see these retards with their fucking Sprite cartoons and text because they
funny.
can't use actual voices, and I would blame it.
The worst
and
was
leave
when they
scathing
used
reviews.
when they
and be
used
like,
anti-alias fonts with Sprite art.
Yeah.
Like at least get a pixel font with
I
Sprite art.
love Corey was like Newground's biggest, like one of like biggest enemy.
Oh,
No, seriously, Corey, you
I would go on there and I would just like pinpoint. I'd have my fucking gang of goblin friends, and we'd like find an animation, and we'd be like, look at this fucking horrible dribble shit, and we'd all leave reviews and ruin his day.
I mean, if I can say this legally, did you call the FBI at some point on one of those guys?
Okay, so someone registered nevgrounds.com with 2 V's instead of a W
Yeah.
in new, and in your URL bar it looks like NEW.
Oh, really?
And they created a fake Newgrounds, and it had a login bar, and if you logged in, it saved your info. And then they emailed, they spoofed, because you can email as anybody basically and spoof some. So they emailed everybody as Wade and all the moderators and said,
At first glance,
we've
it
been
looks like it says Newgrounds.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of, hackers and hacks and stuff. So please go update your password. And so all the moderators would go and do that, and then that's how the entire art portal vanished one day.
Oh my god.
Because there was the ability to like turn, basically just like prune the whole art portal.
So how do you feel about that?
It's just annoying that someone went that far to do that. Here's something really. This is actually a big.
I'm just
pet peeve of
wondering
mine.
if there's as annoying as it is, do you find it kind of humorous,
Sometimes it's funny. Yeah, I try to have good sense of humor.
Sometimes it's funny when half of my
Yeah.
site disappears.
But no, this is an important thing though. The best thing about Newgrounds not being as like center of attention nowadays is people still fuck with it some, but it's not near.
not that
It's nothing
severe.
like if people only understood. So imagine like, it's like 2005, and we're just this small team trying to do something huge, and like we're just trying to make awesome stuff and be like this great thing. And so much of our day was spent by kids that just wanted to tear it apart because it was like the biggest thing to them. Like they thought it was the biggest thing and they just wanted to destroy it.
Do you think if you guys didn't have to spend your resources plugging holes in the hull of your ship way back when, that the site would be in a different place today?
I mean, we definitely would have been faster with features if we weren't doing damage control and moderation tools. There's so many sites that launch. They don't even build the moderator tools we need to build because it never becomes a problem for them. It's like you build the tools as you find the problems, but so many sites just never even.
What was the most kind of frequent stuff that you have to deal with?
There'd be like the spam submissions in the portal, but there'd just be like the general.
Sorry,
Like they'd try to blam stuff. They would try to. They would try to steal awards where they'd
Yeah, no, that
they'd,
happened
like,
all the
swamp
time.
voting to steal the award.
like special things, like special days where you had like Christmas days or like just a special holiday. I remember I wouldn't want to submit anything because some stupid assholes would just upload something at the last second of like the cats getting stepped on or
Yeah.
fucking guys getting kicked in
do
the
remember
balls
that. Yeah.
and just like. Then that's it. They just do that with like loud static noise and
if there's
screaming in the mic.
if there's any feature on the site that
A
allows
lot of times it was the same video.
spam,
Wasn't there like a video that they
spam.
kept re-uploading?
Yeah, it was the
Hustling
fucking
and
one with
hustling,
girl getting
hustling and stuff.
stepping on the dude's balls,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It got fucking old.
Yeah. Do you think any of those people would want the site to actually go down, or do you think
That's
they
the
did
thing.
it
Yeah, I think a
because-
lot of them like it. And the funny thing too is,
Just
like,
attention.
so there was a lot of kids that would submit this horrible because we're just trying to be open.
Who are you to judge what's good and what's
Yeah.
horrible?
But what's funny is,
What do you mean horrible?
I'd say like, at this point, it feels like half of the most horrible people have had me take their stuff down because now they're applying for jobs and, stuff, and
Oh,
there's things on
man.
Newgrounds that tie them to their current identity. And so now they want it all removed. And
You
it's
should
just
have
for,
just
like,
waited and said no.
I know. That's it. It'd be like
No.
the reverse troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be
No,
like,
in fact, I'm adding your real name.
Yeah.
Right now.
Have a good day, Jason.
Gonna put your Google Maps right here in your house.
you fucking like feature his like flashes from 2002 on his page whenever he wants them deleted.
These funny George Bush
That would
videos.
honestly, like, you have the power to take back what it was rightfully stolen.
You stay in close contact with his boss, you just ruin the rest of his life.
Send him
like
a
a-
shitty spread.
You put like a LinkedIn on his profile page.
Oh yeah. Remember this?
Remember Sonic Fox Mario?
You thought this was pretty funny back in the day, didn't you?
Who's laughing
now? Do you think any of those people that were like kind of like trolly and weird back on the site back in the day are like either murderers, imprisoned pedophiles, or dead?
No, look, I think they're.
All right, Tom.
Well, some are
Be
dead.
honest. Oh, are they?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a.
Well, like suicide's a real thing. Like, there's been some people that have killed themselves.
What's the guy called Live Corpse? Is that his name?
Yeah, he killed himself because the police were at his door.
Yeah, because
He shot a cop, remember?
Did he stab his like neighbor and then he ran to the?
Yeah.
Is that him or is that him?
Yeah, no, yeah, he shot a cop. He got a
Oh, no, I mean, that's a horrible
Yeah, start from the beginning. Start from the top there.
Man, I feel like I'm gonna tell it wrong, but yeah, it was something where he was like drinking with the neighbor who was a little crazy, and then they got in a fight, and I think he stabbed the neighbor, and then police got involved, and he was running.
He went home. He finished his Sonic versus Kirby parody.
Yeah.
He was like running from the police, and I guess he had a gun, and he was going over a fence. He was climbing over a fence, and his gun went off and hit the police officer.
I think
And-
a cop got in the leg or something.
And then he ended up in his house with like SWAT at his door,
Wasn't he, like, in a
and he was like
dumpster at
chatting
some
with
point?
people as it was happening. Yeah, he was hiding in a dumpster.
He like
at some
wrote
point.
it. He wrote it. His last thing was to write a Newgrounds post when he was in a dumpster, fucking shaking in the cold with his head in his hand.
He was in a dumpster.
That's gotta be a little flattering, Tom. Newgrounds was the biggest thing this fucking
Did he
video.
send you one
He
final
he was the
PM?
first guy with 100 flashes.
Did he send you one final PM?
He was the first guy with 100 flashes.
Well, he made a final post, and he was chatting with people like as it was all happening.
It's fucked up.
What a goof.
All right,
It was all like- it was all
gonna
like
blow my
confirmed.
brains out. BRB.
Yeah, it was all like confirmed actually.
And then the next day, everybody uploads. Everybody makes animations of this happening with
Yeah.
Benny Hill music.
Is it really?
That was always the thing to do. Anytime, anytime there was like a fucking mass murder or a cult
Yeah, Sir
suicide.
Tom, the next
there would-
day.
Yeah, there would be like fucking Speakonia videos all over Newgrounds with like
Chris,
fucking B
there's actually
everywhere.
a picture of, yeah, you want to tell a Sir Tom story too?
Okay, Sir Tom 93 was a little boy in Newgrounds. One day he decided to post in Newgrounds to say, "I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna burn my fucking school down." He posts a picture of him holding gasoline, and then I think Rig saw the Newgrounds post, went, "Holy shit!" and he called the English police. He said, "Yo, there's this guy on Newgrounds called Sir Tom 83. He's pretty cool, but you better look out. he's coming to the door." So the police fucking caught him, and then the police found him in school with gasoline in his bag.
Petrol.
There's a picture.
No, that's the thing I'm getting to.
okay.
But wait. So Newgrounds rejoiced and made a million flashes about Sir Tom trying to burn down the school but getting caught.
That's how that was.
That's always what happened. It was always a big fucking drama, and then
was the
everyone
best.
uploads stupid, shitty flashes.
What happened
was
to
the
what happened to the
best.
kid?
Okay, so I don't know. I think he's like.
I think he went to jail actually.
Yeah, I think he went to jail. But there's a picture of me like eating ice cream with him at a Newgrounds London meet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not eating ice cream in the picture, but I got ice cream. I bought him an ice cream at a Newgrounds London meet, and then there's a picture of me laughing in the background while he stares scarily into the camera.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, so
It's a small, small world.
yeah, it was good. The ice cream was
Wasn't there
good.
also like a school shooter a couple of years ago?
Well, there was that guy that made that movie Regret. It wasn't a school shooting, but he like shot a bunch of people.
Oh, he was like a Native American, right, on the
Yeah,
reservation?
he was never. He'd uploaded like 2 movies, but I don't think he ever really was like active beyond that.
What a
Should
silly
have seen that
character.
coming.
So you have Newground Faithful holidays created by the content creators. Is there any holidays that you thought were
Stupid.
yeah, that like they're obnoxious and their existence were like not
Obviously,
stupid?
you do, Corey.
But, oh no, I do.
Corey,
I
there's some
do.
fucking
I
hatred.
do.
Get up there, Corey.
I fucking hated B Day or B Clock Day.
Clock
or whatever.
Day?
Clock Day. Oh my god.
Well, Clock Day had some really great years.
Like there was really good people who did stuff, but it opened the door for like the fucking those who just got Flash for the first time and fucking pulled up their pants to try and make a first Flash cartoon. And then they learned from the best the triangle on the side with the fucking
Well,
Speakonia voice.
that's why everyone.
I
That's,
can't stand
That's
that
what made the
word.
Clock
I
Crew such a
cannot stand
success
it either.
I can
because
never understand it.
It's stupid. It's dumb.
you could be a
I made one
12-year-old
of those.
kid.
Did you know that?
I would
did.
have fucking
Like
blamed you,
2006,
dude.
I made one.
Most of I thought a lot of those people who were posting that were actually adults.
There are a lot. Well, a lot of them have grown up too.
There's
but,
good ones and bad
But no,
ones.
the
like
thing that
anything.
the thing that was really
once-
appealing is you could be a little kid whose voice hasn't changed yet. You're too embarrassed to like talk,
Yeah.
and you're not a good artist, and you don't want to use someone else's character like Mario or whatever. So you could take any object, put a clock face on it, and now that's your original character. And then you could use Speakonia to to do the voice, and now
Is that
no one
what
had
it
to know
was?
that. Yeah, so it was such a perfect way for kids to begin animation.
Oh my
like,
To
God.
lure kids.
Yeah,
have
I
a
was.
voice.
Even though a lot of them didn't really aim higher
Oh,
than
Tom,
that.
you are
remember
romantic
there was,
to the bone.
The Lock Crew, they were really
Legion?
talented. The Lock Legion,
yeah.
The Lock Legion was
And they
really good.
weren't they a response to the Clock Crew?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
Didn't
saw.
Rubber Ninja start as Lock Legion?
He might have, yeah. I just remember Lock Legion, like every time Lock Legion posted stuff, I was like, this is good. And I
Yeah,
see
their
Clock
collabs
Crew,
were pretty
and they
badass.
come out and their crap is the same
What
thing.
what was the first cartoon you ever uploaded to Newgrounds?
Oh my god, the first cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. It's just like fucking like it was audio from a Pokemon show episode where Ash is talking about with Pikachu for the first time, where he's with Pikachu for the first time, and Pikachu